And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. It's already time for the season finale of Hockey Talk. I can't believe how fast the school year has gone, but it's here. Joining me, as always, is our residential hockey expert amongst PC3, the one, the only, and a man that I found out recently is one of the biggest Goo Goo Doll fans out there, according to his music video final project, Matt Isley. Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I want to say it's great to be here, and I just want to say, firstly, today's Thursday, and because today is just kind of a different day before Friday, because we usually do it always Friday, but today's a little bit different because we're doing it on a Thursday, because it is a little different because I had a final game earlier, so yeah, so. Let's dive right in.
All right, just a little bit different. Like Matt said, on a Thursday, we've got some big MMA interviews coming up tomorrow, but I'm going to let Sophia tell you all about that on her show. But right now, let's dive right into it. As Matt said, the hockey playoffs are now down to the conference finals. We're down to the final four, or maybe in college terms, the frozen four of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, as I like to say. Matt, let's start first with the Western Conference Finals. We have a big matchup. The last Canadian team left standing in this year's Stanley Cup playoffs, the Edmonton Oilers, are taking on the deadly Dallas Stars. Right now, the Stars have a 1-0 lead in that series. Matt, break it down for us.
Okay, so firstly, Dallas is going to I think Dallas is gonna basically cruise past Edmonton, and I don't know what this is going to be like, but it's going to be some sort of series. It's going to be like this. But I do believe that, it's going to be a really interesting series. But I do believe it's going to be a really good game. But I think Dallas is going to take it by storm against Edmonton. And it's because of it in the Western Conference and because of it. But yeah, so I figured.
All right, Matt. So 1-0. You think Dallas is going to take this series and head on to the Stanley Cup Finals? Who are some of the key players right now for the Stars that you can really kind of look for to be, big factors to come out with a victory in this series? Because you didn't waste any time. You're going right for the Stars. So if you can, talk a little bit about some of the key players and some of the key factors for the Stars in this series if they want to eliminate that last Canadian hope.
Okay, so I'm going to break that down now, and of course I'm going to break that down because
break it down for us, Matt. Break it down, DX style. Do it.
So some of these players were basically going to be some of these players have been already recalled by Texas, the AHL. So looks like we have Oscar, Maverick, and then Leon from Texas, and then on our current Dallas roster we have Matt Dumba, we have Thomas Harley, and then we also have Wyatt Johnston, and then we also have Mason Marchman as well, including Jason Robertson, and let's not forget about the team's captain, Jamie Benn.
All right, now the Oilers right now they're down 1-0, but what do you think Connor McDavid's going to do in this series? He's a guy you've talked a lot about on Hockey Talk, and right now these teams in a hole. He's got a goal in this playoff series. So tell me, can he make an impact, and can Edmonton possibly make this a competitive series?
Well, yes, definitely. That can be a really positive thing, and I gotta say it's something really how they did it. McDavid did a very good job, and they did very well. And I gotta say, it's a really well done job. So, yeah.
All right. So, Matt, let's kind of, put a bow on this series a little bit. You did predict Dallas would go all the way. How many games do you think it's going to be for the Stars to take out the Oilers? And finally, give me one more key factor that you think is going to put Dallas over the top, because you didn't touch on that one yet.
Yeah, because I didn't touch that on yet, but let's do it. So, basically, for Dallas, I would have to say, well, this is quite tricky, but in this case, I would have to say probably either 6 or 7, but in this case, I'm going 7 games for the Stars as they take out the Oilers.
7 games, huh?
Yep, and the reason why is 7 is because I think Dallas is going to force a Game 7 back at the the American Airlines Center in Dallas, because it's going to be like the series. If the series is tied, we're have to like go to Game 7, and I think Dallas can storm it back after like losing. You know, if they can like do that, but yeah.
All right, and now let's kind of turn our attention over to the Eastern Conference side of the bracket, where the Eastern Conference finals are taking place. Right now, we have the deadly, the dangerous, and the always crazy factors of the Florida Panthers, and we know that they have a Stanley Cup in their pocket from last year. They are taking on the Carolina Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Final. Game 1 in this series wasn't even close. Florida blew the lid off the Hurricanes. Can Carolina make any sort of comeback, or is this just going to be a coronation of the Panthers back to the finals?
Definitely, you know, I think Carolina can make some improvements, and I think they can even this series in Game 2. And then I believe, you know, Florida can like just basically can also even the series as well because of it. Because I do believe that it would be pretty good. Because it would be really interesting. And you know what? In this case, I would have to say the deadly, dangerous Florida Panthers going to take it by storm against the Carolina Hurricanes. But this time it's going to be in 6 games.
6 games. He's going with the Florida Panthers in 6 games. So hopefully the Hurricanes can mount somewhat of a comeback. Matt, who are some of the key players for each team that you want to keep an eye on in this series?
For Carolina, I would have to say Seth Jarvis is one of them because Carolina did a really nice job in, you know, Game 1. They did pretty good. Another one I would have to say for the team, I would have to say Jack Roslovic. That is another player. You know, I also would have to say a couple others that would have to get that to that point. Yeah, so that would be pretty cool.
In my notes here, Matt, I have a strong offensive presence for Florida. Sam Reinhart, what can you tell me about him?
So Sam Reinhart is pretty cool. He's a really good, you know, skater, and he does really well, and he does pretty good.
And then another key veteran player for the Panthers, Sam Bennett.
So Sam Bennett was, you know, a really great player, although he came from Calgary Flames when he got traded to Florida, which was another key factor, because it just kind of like really fact because of it. But yeah, it just kind of figured because of it. But yeah.
So overall, Matt, you're telling me Florida's roster is just too stacked, and you look forward to them taking the series in 6 games.
Yes, but also I also wanted to touch on a few key players that would actually help Carolina mount the comeback.
Let's do it.
So first up, we got Sebastian Aho. Then we have Jacob Slavin.
All right.
Then like I said, we have Seth Jarvis. Then we have the one and only Russian Andrei Snechtikov, number 37. And then finally we have number 8, Brent Burns on defense.
There you have it. There you have it. So, Matt, this is why you're the hockey expert here at PC3, because some of these names I wouldn't even touch with a 10-foot pole. These names are crazy, but you can say them perfectly.
Well, yes. Oh, and I just to clear things up, I would, you know, add a couple more to it.
Okay.
So some of these, like 3 more, I would add. So firstly, let's take a look at Logan Stankoven, the center for the Carolina Hurricanes, who was traded from Dallas, known as the Texas Stars. Then let's take a look on the junior who came from the University of North Dakota, who was taken by storm, Jackson Blake. And then we also have our newly player who came from the Rangers, traded to the Carolina Hurricanes, Jack Roslovic.
All right. So, judging by some of the players that you just named there, Matt, let's slow it down a little bit.
All right.
Okay, you told me 6 games.
Yep.
The Hurricanes have any chance of knocking off the defending champions, or is 6 games it? You're not changing your mind, judging by some of these key players.
I would definitely say I think Carolina can make a comeback, and I think, Carolina can do a pretty well done job, and I think they can, how they can improve and how they can like take the series lead by storm. But yeah.
All right. So Matt, you've still got the Florida Panthers going to the Stanley Cup Finals, correct?
That's right, but I think Carolina can still make a comeback if they need to, but still they can.
All right, so if we hold it true, because this is the last episode, we won't be back here in the summertime. We'll have to wait until the next school year. But if Matt's predictions hold true, you're telling me we're going to see on one side the Dallas Stars and on the other side the defending champion Florida Panthers. Matt, if both of those teams clash for Lord Stanley's Cup, who's coming out on top?
I would have to say Matt Tkachuk of the Florida Panthers.
Whoa.
The alternate captain, because I would have to say he's a really great, he's one of those great key players for Florida, and he's really good. He's number 19. And speaking of that, he is from like St. Louis, or excuse me, from Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm sorry. Basically, he was from Scottsdale, Arizona, and then his father was from St. Louis.
Wait a minute, Matt. You're telling me was his father Keith Tkachuk?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, my goodness. Keith Tkachuk was a former Phoenix Coyote all the way back when they first became a franchise. Obviously, we know what happened to them, and they're not a franchise anymore. But I remember he was one of the original Coyotes members after the Winnipeg Jets moved over to the desert in the late 90s when I was probably like in 7th or 8th grade. He was one of my favorite players, so...
Well, yeah, it's very interesting and really how that is. But yeah, that's really cool.
All right. So Matt's got his predictions made. We'll have to check once the new school year takes place and see if Matt is dead on with his hockey predictions as we finish up Hockey Talk. And speaking of finishing up Hockey Talk, we're about to go to the break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the big news in Chicago. A new head coach is headed to the Windy City for the 2025-2026 season. Matt will tell you all about him when we come back.
Well,
And welcome back, everyone, to our season finale of Hockey Talk here on PC3 Radio. Matt, let's get right to the news. I understand this past week there was some big news amongst one of your favorite franchises. The Chicago Blackhawks finally have a new head coach. Matt, tell us who he is and tell us a little bit about him.
all right, so the Blackhawks have a new head coach. His name is Jeff Blashill. I don't really know like how you pronounce his last name, but I know his first name is Jeff, but still, welcome to Chicago, Jeff. And he's one of those like really good, head coaches. He was originally a assistant head coach for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Jeff was an incredibly smart and talented coach who boasts more than 25 years of coaching experience across developmental leagues in the NHL. And in the world stage, David said, He thrived in the position to develop young players, and he has shown he's a capable in blending into that overall team success.
Well, let me stop you right there, Matt, because one of the key words you said is working with young talent. Obviously, we know about Connor Bedard, the big Blackhawks star, who is slowly progressing, and he's got a lot of potential to be one of the top players in the league. Matt, the Blackhawks have a plethora of young talent, and who are some of the key figures on the Blackhawks that you're looking forward to the new coach working with?
So some of the key factors and also some of the players that, they have, including that new head coach, like you said, like you said, it was kind of Bedard. Now we have like Tyler Bertuzzi, who's now currently with the Hawks. We have Jason Dickinson, Ryan Donato, Nick Foligno, and then we have the newly signed player from Boston University, Ryan Green. Then we have Philip Kurashev, then Patrick Maroon, who was now recently retired, Ilya Mikheyev. Then we have still a freshman to the Hawks, but still a great player, number 11 center Oliver Moore. Then we have number 91 center Frank Nazar.
All right, so a great stacked young roster for the new head coach to work with over in Chicago. And as a Blackhawks fan, Matt, what are you looking forward to about next season? Can they get it together? Can they finally start to develop some of these young pieces and help Bedard live up to his potential and possibly make a run back in the playoffs?
Well, yes, certainly that is a really good thinking, and I like the question you asked, but I would have to say, yeah, that is a considered a possibility. That would be really interesting in how that would turn out to work that. But still, yeah, I think Bedard can do it.
All right. So a lot to look forward to with the Blackhawks, and I just got a message from Mr. Jennings here. I understand that the Blackhawks are also bringing in Michael Pekka, I believe is how you say this last name. Don't quote me on that, but he is a top Rangers assistant. So the new Blackhawks coach is starting to build his staff together and develop some chemistry in Chicago that's been lacking in recent years as they've gone through a series of coaches and a series of players since the glory years of the Big Two and Coach Quenneville. And I understand Coach Quenneville has found himself a new gig as well. Matt, where's he going to be coaching next year?
He's coaching with the Anaheim Ducks.
Anaheim Ducks. So that could be a dangerous spot for the NHL teams to play at next year in Anaheim with a veteran coach such as Joel Quenneville. And speaking of coaches, Matt, I understand that recently, just a couple of weeks ago, right here in our PC3 studios, you had a chance to talk to a former NHL head coach and a two-time Stanley Cup champion in Valpo resident himself, Todd Rierden. Matt, where can you find that interview? And Matt, how did that interview go for you?
Well, certainly for that interview, you can find it on our PC3 Media YouTube channel, and you can always find that video, and it should appear on our YouTube channel.
And our website, don't forget. What's our website, Matt?
PC3media.com. You can also visit that link below. I'll have that link in the description.
All right, perfect. So we'll go ahead and add that link to Hockey Talk. And then, Matt, what was it like speaking with Coach Rierden and spending some time with him? And I understand you got to check out and take some pictures wearing his Stanley Cup rings.
Well, yeah. So, I figured that, that interview was really interesting. And, I figured because that really great interview was, fantastic. I had the chance to speak with, former NHL coach Todd Rierden. He was really good. I got to speak with him, and so I figured because of it.
What was the coolest thing that Coach Rierden told you about during his visit here at PC3?
So one of the coolest things that he showed me was the Stanley Cup championship rings was pretty cool. He showed me that, and I figured that is pretty awesome. And, I just kind of figured that's a really, great memory that I'll never forget.
It was truly a great memory for all of us. He got to talk to a few of our students. I know Emerson and Sophia are back here. Frankie's back here. And a lot of students got to utilize Coach Rierden's time and ask him some questions as he talked to the class and did a great interview with Matt. And as Matt said, it's available on our website, PC3media.com, and our YouTube channel. So make sure you guys check it out. I know NWI Life, our good friends over there, just reposted that interview. So be sure to check it out if you haven't already. Well, Matt, real quickly, speaking of Coach Rierden, my good friend Jeff, who's a big hockey fan, just texted me he's listening live. Coach Rierden is interviewed for jobs in New York for the Rangers and in Vancouver for the Canucks. So possibly he could be getting an assistant coaching job heading into next season. What do you think about that? That
is awesome. I would have to say Coach Rierden will be great. And, yeah, so I got some really good thoughts. And, yeah, so I figured, so good luck to Coach Rierden on his job search. So good luck to him.
Absolutely, absolutely. We hope Coach Rierden lands a job and comes back and visits PC3 next year and maybe sits down with another interview with Matt. What do you think about that, Matt?
That is awesome. So, yeah.
Very cool. Well, that kind of wraps it up for our very last episode of Hockey Talk as we head into the summer and finish out the school year, Matt. What is the biggest thing that you accomplished this year, and what was your best memory of doing our Hockey Talk show?
The best Hockey Talk show was, like, when I had the chance to, when I had the chance to, when I got to talk about the Four Nations face-off.
That was a good one.
The senior night, and that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, the Notre Dame senior night trip was pretty cool.
And then was, another one. I gotta say this is quite a hard one, but I recently got still to, probably got to talk about, the NHL playoffs, still in the first round, but still I got to talk about that. But, yeah, and also the key factor with Brayden Point for the Lightning as well on February 7th.
Awesome, Matt. If you know those hockey dates and those names, Matt is your guy. And, of course, we topped it all off with the Coach Rierden interview. So I would say it was a pretty successful first year of Hockey Talk. Matt, what would you say?
I would say this is a great show. Yeah, I would say I would do this again. Yeah, so I think.
So you're saying you want to come back for more next year?
Well, yes, certainly. But I'm going to push it off for now just to set that aside. But still, I would do that again, but just
all right,
until 2026 or 27, but still.
Oh, we'll be back. We'll be back next year, still in 2025, Matt. So we're just going on a little hiatus, and then we'll be back with more hockey news, hockey updates, hockey talk, and maybe even a few more exclusive interviews coming your way. We're talking to some people right now, so hopefully we can make that happen. Matt, it's your show. I'll let you sign off. Thank you so much for having me this year.
It's a real pleasure. So thank you very much. But still, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and hit that. And don't forget to click the subscribe button below. Turn on notifications. And don't forget to ring the bell when we go live or upload a new video to our channel. So don't forget. So thank you very much. And we'll see you next time.